Hi, I'm Mariana, and we're back for another episode of GH Stitch Club. Every episode, we're going to be showing you how to make a new knit or crochet project from beginning to end. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to crochet this cute basket with a two-tone color, and you could make this in a variety of different sizes. It's a perfect project for beginners, and I'll show you how to make it from beginning to end. So for this project, we're working with a chunky size 5 bulky yarn, and we're actually going to hold 2 strands of yarn together to make it even more thick and sturdy as you work up your crochet rounds. So it might seem a little intimidating at first, but it's actually really simple. You're just going to pull your yarn out of your 2 main color yarn and hold those 2 yarn together as you crochet. So we'll start off by making a slip knot. Insert your 9mm crochet hook, and then we're going to chain 1, 2, and then we're going to single crochet into that first loop. So to single crochet, you insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over once again, and pull through both loops on your hook, and that's a single crochet. So we're going to continue in that first loop, that first slip knot loop, and we're going to make 8 single crochets, kind of in a circle. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over again, and pull through both loops on your hook. And as you go, you can create your single crochets over this tail. Just kind of hold it down. You can count your stitches by looking at it from the top. You'll see a little V. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I need 2 more. So 7, 8 single crochets. And there you have your beginning ring, which will be the base of your basket. From here, we will chain 1, and then I'm going to use this stitch marker. It's just a little plastic type that slips onto your yarn. So I'll slide it onto this loop that's already on my hook, and this will mark the beginning and end of my rounds as I go around. So it just helps you keep your place. It's easy to kind of forget where the beginning and end of the rows are. So once you've slipped your marker on, you're going to single crochet twice in each stitch. So at the end of the second row, we'll have 16 stitches. And to do that, you just single crochet into your first stitch, and then single crochet once again back into that same stitch. So this is the stitch we worked, and we'll just insert our hook again into that loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through both loops on your hook. And now you have 2 single crochets on that same stitch, and just continue that in that way all the way around until you have 16 stitches. And you don't have to count quite so much because you have your stitch marker. So once you come back to your stitch marker, you'll know you're done with the second round. Okay, so now we've made our second row of 16 stitches, which you can count by looking down from the side. So we have 1, which is where our stitch marker is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You don't count the loop that's on your hook, and you don't count this loop that comes just before your stitch marker, because that's the one chain that you made. You chained 1 and then started your second round, so we don't count that chain. So now that we've come back to our stitch marker, we will remove that marker, set it aside. We'll work 2 stitches into that first loop. 1, 2. Put your stitch marker back on your first stitch, so 1, 2, it's this one. This is your first stitch. You've made 2 in that first stitch from the second round. So now that you've increased 2, you'll go into your next stitch and just single crochet 1. So the pattern for the 3rd row and the rest of your rows is 2 single crochets into 1 stitch and then a single stitch. 2 stitches and then 1 stitch. That way we will increase our rows but not double them. So at the end of this 3rd row, we should have 24 stitches. So you can follow the pattern that's included in your kit, or if you want to make a basket that's a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger, you can just keep on increasing your rows in pattern as we're doing right here until the circle is as wide as you need it to be for the base of your basket. So I'm making this basket to cover our little plant today, and I just need it to be 4 inches wide. So I'll keep working these rounds, single crocheting twice into each stitch until this base circle is 4 inches wide. And then we'll start working up the sides of the basket. And that's the fun part. So now we've come to the end of our 3rd round, and we have 24 stitches going all the way around. So we'll chain 1 again, slip stitch into that first stitch of your row, single crochet into that first stitch of your row, place your marker, single crochet again into that first stitch, and then create a single crochet into your next stitch, single crochet twice into the 3rd stitch, and so on, working your way around. And this is how you're going to work each subsequent row. So now we've come to the end of our 4th round, and you'll have 32 stitches going all the way around. So again, you'll remove your stitch marker and single crochet into that stitch. Place your stitch marker back on to mark the beginning of your 5th row, and you'll single crochet again into that same stitch. And for the 5th row, you'll single crochet twice into the same stitch and then single crochet 3. So 1, 2, 3. You'll continue in this way all the way around. So you'll single crochet twice into the same stitch and then single crochet into the next 3 stitches. So single crochet 1, 2, and then 3 single crochets into the next 3 stitches. So now we've come to the end of our 5th row, and we have 40 stitches all the way around. And you'll start your 6th row in the same way. Remove your stitch marker, single crochet into that first stitch, place your stitch marker, single crochet again into that first stitch. So now we have 2 stitches, and this time around you'll single crochet into the next 4 stitches, just 1 single crochet per stitch, and that will be the pattern for the 6th round. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we have 6 stitches, and we'll single crochet twice into that next stitch. 1, 2, and then we'll single crochet once per stitch for the next 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And continue in this pattern all the way around until you get back to your stitch marker. So now we're at the end of our 6th row, and we have 48 loops, 48 stitches around and back to our stitch counter. So now I'm going to start making the sides of the basket. This is as wide as I want my basket to be, but if you'd like yours to be a little bit wider, when you download the pattern, it will give you the stitch count to keep going and make your basket as wide as you'd like it. So to start making the sides of the basket, you'll chain 1 and then remove your stitch marker. And for the sides of the basket, you're going to work your stitches in the back loop. So that just means when you're looking at your stitch and you see the V, it's the leg that's further away from you. So insert your hook into that leg that's further away, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through both loops. And that's your first single crochet. And you'll put your stitch marker back on to mark the beginning of your 8th row. And then you'll just continue in this way all the way around. So 1 single crochet per stitch, and you're just working in that back leg, in the back loop of your stitches. And this will kind of turn your stitches so that they start forming the sides of the basket. This part goes a little bit faster because you don't have to keep counting your stitches. You're just single crocheting once per stitch all the way around. So now that we've created our first foundation round for the sides of the basket, we're going to chain 1, and all subsequent rounds we're going to work under both loops of the stitch like we had been doing. So remove your stitch marker. You're going to insert your hook under both legs of your stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops, and replace your stitch marker. And this is how we'll work all the rest of the rows, going all the way up your basket, just working a single crochet per stitch under both loops of the stitch. So this just helps to shape your basket so that the sides kind of go up and make a cylinder. So you'll just insert your hook under both legs of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through both loops. And just keep working all the way around until it's as high as you'd like this first color to be, and then we'll work our second color on the top edge. Okay, so at this point, I've worked up my rounds to the height that I'd like my basket to be before the color change. So you can see here's my stitch marker, and I'm ready to switch to the second color. So to switch to the second color is really simple. Because we are holding 2 strands of yarn together, we're going to take the label off. We're going to pull from the middle, but also take that strand from the outside of your ball of yarn. And that way you'll be able to hold both strands together from a single ball of yarn. So I've got my 2 strands of my contrasting color, and I'm ready to, I'll chain 1 in the gray, and then take off my stitch marker and then insert my hook. Instead of yarning over with the gray, I'll take my contrasting color, loop it over my hook, pull through. Make sure you grab the working yarn, yarn over your hook again, and then pull through both loops on your hook. And you can just pull down on the tails of your yarn to kind of tighten that a little bit. I'm going to break the yarn of the main color now, and these can be set aside. And I'll just give these two colors a little knot here so that it doesn't become too loose. Put your stitch marker back on, and then just continue in the same way that we were working our rows before, yarning under both legs of the stitch and single crocheting. So you'll single crochet into each stitch all the way around. And we'll just continue in this way until our contrasting color is about an inch high. This is a small basket, so I'm only going to do about an inch of the contrasting color, but you can certainly make it larger or smaller if you'd like. So now we've worked up our second color as high as I want to make the basket. We will just do a slip stitch. We'll remove the stitch marker and just slip stitch into that last stitch. Yarn over your hook one more time, pull your yarn through, and just cut the yarn from your ball of yarn, pull your yarn through, and you have your basket. You can weave in the ends by just inserting your hook under this top row of stitches and kind of pulling it through, weaving it through these top row of stitches where it will hide your tail of yarn, and you can go for a few inches and then just trim that tail, and you can trim the yarn that's inside your basket. And then you have your sweet little basket for your plant, or for more yarn, or masks, or whatever you might want to use it for. And this is a perfect beginner project. You can start with a small basket and work your way up to a larger one. When you download the pattern from the Yarnspirations website, it will give you the pattern to make this basket bigger, or you can stop the bottom smaller if you'd like to make a little one like this. Thanks for watching our tutorial on how to crochet your own basket. I hope you check out some of our other Stitch Club videos on the Good Housekeeping YouTube channel.